What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday morning. I hope we had a wonderful weekend and we're getting ready for the new week. But this new week is going to start with quite a bang for a lot of us out there with some very strong storms, including the threat of some tornadoes out there tomorrow. So we already had an enhanced risk from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma for tomorrow's storms for a big chunk of the East Coast and especially a big chunk of where I have a lot of viewers watching from. So I talked about this on Friday. I said Sunday morning we're going to really have to talk about a severe weather threat because I see it on the horizon, and here we are really a day before the big time severe weather threat, but there is also a threat today as well. So today's a bit more of an isolated threat for those of us in the east, but tomorrow really looks to be like the big kind of climax of this event, if you will. So I'll definitely keep you informed on that in this video, and definitely make sure you like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you're up to date with more updates as we go through this threat. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it because I know it is a Sunday morning where a lot of us are probably just getting back from church or going out to eat with the family. So right now what we're seeing on satellite imagery is kind of a unique picture. We have two separate low pressure systems here. So a weaker one out here over Indiana and Ohio. This was actually just a leftover cluster of storms that worked all the way from Nebraska, and as it got over Illinois yesterday, almost looked like a hurricane over land. That's how potent that piece of low pressure was, but as of right now it has weakened a bit and is kind of just moving off to the north and east and weakening as it does. Now the more supported dynamically, at least low pressure system that we have right now is out over sections of Iowa right now, and as we go through the day today this will fire off some storms here in that usual southeastern quadrant of the low pressure, and that will continue as we go into tomorrow when this low moves off to the east and we have another big area of strong to severe storms firing off. So that's kind of the general picture that we are going to be seeing. Now, right now, what we're seeing out there, again, because of this two low pressure system, is two kind of separate areas of energy that is firing off some showers and storms this morning. So with this first low pressure, I'll go ahead and draw in the low pressures here. We're seeing some rain up into Michigan, as well as kind of on that shrimp tail of the low pressure, bringing some rain down through Appalachia this morning from Knoxville, down through kind of Dalton, Georgia, up through the Western Carolinas by the time we get into this afternoon, and through much of West Virginia as well this afternoon. So we'll see that move on through. With our other low pressure system, again, kind of on the northern end, we're just seeing some good old fashioned rain, but on that kind of shrimp tail, as I call it, from that low pressure, we're going to see some severe storms this afternoon. So I definitely want you to be prepared for that, and just know that that is on the horizon for today and, of course, tomorrow as well. Now, of course, the other big story for a lot of folks is just how darn hot it is out there, and we still have a big area of heat advisories and excessive heat warnings stretching throughout the entire I-10 corridor, really, from LA all the way to Jacksonville. So, again, the extreme southern tier of the country is still dealing with that extreme heat, and unfortunately, it has turned deadly for some folks. I know out in Texas, a couple of people got trapped in their car and unfortunately lost their lives due to that. So, again, whenever we see these warnings out there, it's not something to mess around with. You have to make sure you have water with you, that you're being very careful when you're outside or doing any kind of physical or physically intensive activities. All right, so looking at today's severe weather threat, again, today is less of a severe weather threat day compared to tomorrow. However, don't let your guard down today because we still do have a slight risk for a lot of people from Atlanta, Georgia, to as far north and east as the extreme southern, southeastern tip of Iowa there. So again, a lot of people are going to be in the severe weather threat. Obviously, if you're in the yellow shaded area, you have a higher in threat for that severe weather, but even in this dark green area, you're still under the gun for some severe weather. So again, the main threats today would be damaging wind, a little bit of hail, and can't rule out a tornado or two here and there. But really, I think damaging wind will be the main threat for a lot of folks today. Now, as we go into tomorrow, things get a bit more feisty and a bit more serious. So we already have an enhanced risk from Atlanta, Georgia, up through Charlotte, North Carolina, Charlottesville, Virginia, back towards Blacksburg, Virginia, and into West Virginia, and as far north as the D.C. metro area there, and western sections of Maryland. So a lot of folks in this enhanced risk for tomorrow, and if the models trend any more in, kind of the worst direction, we could very well see this upgraded to a moderate risk, kind of within this enhanced risk as we get into tomorrow morning. So this is going to be one of the bigger severe weather days we've had in the East Coast for at least a month or two, I'd say over the summertime, and this will become more common as we go through the fall months. We have a second severe weather season in the United States, specifically the East Coast, once we hit fall, for a couple of reasons. One, we get a lot of tropical energy that works northward, including tropical systems, which bring their own wind energy and can cause tornado outbreaks. But also, it's just that time of the year where cold wants to come back from Canada, and the Gulf of Mexico is a bit stubborn and wants to push back. So with these clashing of air masses, we see these threats end up taking place. So expect this to become a bit more common as we go through the next couple of months. But tomorrow will definitely be quite the show for a lot of folks. So in terms of what hazards we have on the table for tomorrow, the main threat will still be damaging winds. However, I really do expect a couple of tornadoes tomorrow, some of which could get kind of strong. I wouldn't be surprised to see an EF1, EF2 even tornado tomorrow out of this setup, just because the wind energy in place is very favorable to see a couple of strong tornadoes kind of form here, especially in this enhanced risk. So I'll definitely be out there storm chasing, but before I do, I'll definitely get a video out tomorrow morning for you to update you on one, where I plan on storm chasing, also though how the threat evolves overnight tonight with our models, and obviously we'll hope it downtrends some, but I want you to definitely be prepared for the worst as we go into tomorrow. All right, so now looking at radar for this afternoon and going into this evening. So again, we kind of have two systems of energy here that could bring some showers and storms. So this first low pressure, expect some storms to fire off on the southeastern end of that. This will move through really the western Carolinas, western Virginia, and West Virginia itself. Less of a severe weather threat here, but don't be surprised to see a couple microbursts or downbursts cause some wind damage out of that. Now, the main threat, though, will come from our other piece of energy back out here into the plains and really kind of just the Ohio River Valley, from Illinois down to Nashville, down towards Birmingham and Jackson, Mississippi. Now that will eventually fade out, and we'll go into tomorrow morning, where this low pressure really gets its act together, and as it moves east, look at this very big area of strong to severe storms forming from New York State all the way down to northern Alabama. So again, this is quite a concerning look on this map, and one thing I will tell you, the models do have a bit of a disagreement right now. The NAM is a lot less widespread with the coverage of these storms, but also has just as severe storms, just for less people. So no matter what, tomorrow somebody's going to get rocked by some strong storms. It's just a matter of if it's going to be more widespread or a bit more confined to certain areas. So again, tomorrow morning I'll update you on what that exactly looks like. But with this image, a lot of folks with a big tornado and wind threat for tomorrow afternoon. So really don't want to understate that, and definitely want you to be prepared. The good news is, after we get through tomorrow and we get into the overnight hours and the early morning hours of Wednesday, things look much nicer, minus some leftover rain up into extreme New England. All right, so now taking a look at beyond this and what we're expecting through the week ahead. Going to kind of gloss over this a little bit because we have more time in the future to talk about this. But after this piece of energy moves on through, I do expect a slight cool down and a little bit of drier air to work in, but don't get too used to it. It's not going to last very long. So Tuesday and Wednesday might feel slightly better for us in the east, but by the time we get into Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend, and once again gets very humid, and in the long run, it looks like this ridge builds back in, bringing in very hot temperatures with it. So in terms of precipitation this week, again, we have the storm system earlier in the week, starting Monday, or really starting today through Monday, I should say. Then we get a bit of a lull through our Tuesday and even our Wednesday potentially before Thursday rolls around, and another piece of energy looks to work on through the southeast, and then after that, a more potent piece of energy looks to work on through the northeast, which could bring with it, once again, some severe weather. But again, we'll touch on that as we get a little bit closer. All right, so in terms of the muggy air, again, it's going to be very muggy today and tomorrow, which is going to feed those storms. After that, we get a bit of a break on Tuesday afternoon. You'll notice kind of here into the mid-Atlantic and the Ohio River Valley, we do get a little bit of drier air to work on in, but south of there, along the I-20 corridor, southbound, really just still quite muggy for just about everyone down there. So don't expect too much south of the I-20 corridor there. Now going into Wednesday afternoon, again, still some drier air left over in the east, but you'll notice behind that, warm Gulf air tries to surge back northwards as we get ready for that next round of storms during the middle and end of the week. And by the time we get to the middle and end of the week, it's just a very muggy picture for a lot of folks. Now for temperatures, again, where it rains, obviously it will be a bit cooler, and I do expect Tuesday afternoon to be, potentially a tad bit cooler, especially in the northeast, where I think we'll have some leftover cloud coverage. Same thing for Wednesday afternoon, but other than that, really just expect the temperatures to be about average or warming back up to above average if you're not lucky enough to see some rain throughout any time next week. All right, quickly touching on the tropics here. As you can see, no tropical development is expected over the next 7 days, although I will caution you, the models have been trending at maybe by the time we get into middle and late August, that hurricane threat trending back upwards. So again, we've got some very warm oceans out there. If we can just get the wind shear and dry air to relax a little bit, we could unfortunately see some quite strong systems out there. So definitely keep you updated on that, but as for the next week, nothing to worry about. Alrighty, so that's all I've got for you on this Sunday morning. Of course, make sure you're staying safe out there and staying tuned for tomorrow morning's video. And always follow me on Twitter where I'm a bit more active with the posting, and I'll definitely keep you updated there. With that said, though, again, have a great rest of your Sunday. Make sure to spend some time with your family, and I will see you all tomorrow.